I have the law department on the phone. Arvin, are you there?
I am here, Mayor.
Thank you.
Good morning.
All right.
We are here to meet today about the city's response and ongoing efforts regarding 431 Park Avenue. There was a fire there last week. We had temporary shelter with the Red Cross at Lincoln Avenue School. That has been throughout. It'll end today at about 3 o'clock, at which point we'll transition to St. Matthew's Church on Oakwood Avenue in Orange. Yesterday, we received a mobile shower unit, so we'll have shelter and showering facilities for all the residents who we seek to come. We think it's up to about 25 residents around the table. Everyone will introduce themselves, but they've all played a part in helping to ease the pain from this tragic situation. Over 100 families were displaced as a result of this fire. It is a multi-apartment complex on Park Avenue. A portion of it burned and sustained most of the fire damage, but there were other portions that sustained smoke damage, water damage, and now we're concerned about the sufficiency of the flooring and the ceilings, and we don't think it's safe for inhabitants to go back in. We did do some discreet escorts of residents to go in to get some of their most essential belongings and medication and so forth. That effort we're going to try to continue again once we get an assessment from our building personnel. I do want to go around the table to introduce ourselves so we know all that is present. Starting with the business administrator.
Chris Harwick, Business Administrator.
Marty Mays,
We
DPW.
couldn't hear you, Marty.
Marty Mays, DPW.
I'm Steve, here to work, as we always do with the Township, for the best we can do for all residents.
Tom Karen, Platinum Management.
Sharon Yantitude, Platinum Management.
Trish Tessia, Platinum Management.
Larry Rosen, Adjuster.
Officer Droppick, Orange Police.
Derek Brown, Chief of Orange County.
Laquana Best, Director of Planning, Economic Development.
Todd Warren, Director of Orange Police Department.
Bull Electric Construction Official.
Wendy Sykes, Director of Community Services.
And Lewis Copeland, who is part of my staff, has been with the fire victims the last 2 days, has been administering and following up on information about apartments and transition. As we complete our meeting, we'll then give an after action report and information if anyone wants to get involved in terms of donations and any other contributions they can make to the families. Thank you for your time and attention. I want to thank everyone for coming together to address this issue. There's a tragedy on Park Avenue with the fire last week. Over 100 families displaced. But it seems like after this meeting, we came together with a plan that addresses their needs and tries to get at least a portion of the complex open again. We've gone over all of the permit requirements, inspection requirements, the things that we expect as a city from the management. Management's been very cooperative in terms of trying to get things back on track as early as possible. One of the sore issues was return of security deposits. I'm happy that you're willing to address that at your location. As I said, we are transitioning from Lincoln Avenue School to St. Matthew's Church tonight. You've extended yourselves to be there available tonight to address them and their concerns. Thank you for that. I also want to thank our team. This fire occurred at the wee hours of the morning, between 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. I know Chief Brown was on the scene immediately and did not hesitate to call me at that time, and I went out to the fire as well. All of our directors responded in kind, got control of the situation, and brought this to a close as minimally offensive as possible to our residents. I want to thank New Jersey Transit. Of course, the Red Cross was a big player in this as well. Your management team, all the people who came out to help these families, we're deeply indebted, and we're not going to stop until we get them all returned to a safe place in their residence. that concludes our meeting. We will reconvene this Friday with a timetable, a loose timetable, because we're dealing with construction and we still don't know all the conditions of the building due to the rain, the fire, and the smoke. So we do plan to reconvene this Friday to do a second phase of a recovery for our fire victims. Thank you very much. Hi, this is Mayor Warren. I'm coming back to you just to follow up on the report on the fire at 431 Park Avenue in Orange that happened about 10 days ago. We have had an initial meeting with management, and they've been very cooperative in trying to get the apartments back online. They did do an assessment and determine that the fire, that the root of the fire is isolated to a particular area. They are seeking to get a firewall to mark that portion off so they can go through with the renovations to at least the parts of the complex that were not as heavily fire damaged. They do have teams going in to do remediation, to do some construction, and they've been in touch with our building department to make sure they have all permits required. There are some families that are still displaced. We do have a shelter at St. Matthew's Church in Orange. St. Matthew's Church family has been doing a marvelous job in terms of sheltering, feeding, and helping us with the transition from the shelter to new apartments. I'm going to bring you later an interview with Lewis Copeland of our staff, who has been on the ground making sure that there's been transitional efforts with apartments and assistance with rent as well. Mayor Warren reporting on the fire at 431 Park Avenue in Orange, and will update the community with regard to rehousing efforts and rehabilitation efforts. Hi, I'm Mayor Warren. Today we're working from the City Hall Council Chambers with the management of 431 Park Avenue, and just going over a progress report on bringing the apartments back online, the remediation efforts, and I have the management here. Sir, your name is?
Steve Reeder.
And Steve, you're with the management company?
Yes.
Steve, it was a tragic fire. You guys were on the scene immediately. I certainly want to shout out the Orange Fire Department, Orange Police Department, the OEM, our DPW. Everyone came out on the scene to make sure that these fire victims were treated with dignity and safety. And we want to thank you guys for cooperating with all you did in that regard. Now we're at the stage, the fire's about 10 days out.
Right.
And just tell me where you are in terms of bringing the apartments back online.
So thanks a lot, Mr. Mayor. First of all, it's obviously a very unfortunate situation, and we feel for all those who are displaced. We are definitely, with partnership with the mayor and all the departments in his township, working very hard and doing everything we can to get as many apartments back online and back all tenants back home safely that we can. Obviously, there's a part of the building that's affected, but any non-affected areas, we're working with the township and the mayor very hard to get you home as soon as possible. And we're a unified force here, working hand in hand, doing everything we can for you.
Now, you've done, given some special attention to the doors and the locks. Tell me about that.
So we've been changing locks. We've been keeping secure. We've had help from the police department keeping the building secure to keep everyone's items safe. The doors that were affected from the fire or from getting out are being replaced and are being sourced. Obviously, supply chains in today's environment present some sort of challenge, but we're doing everything we possibly can to secure and replace anything that needs to be replaced.
I know we had discussions with the fire department and the fire inspector, and one of the warnings that they gave that's included in your lease provisions is about cleaning off the balcony. Just underscore how important that is for the residents to comply with your rules in that regard.
Yeah, I think absolutely true what the mayor is saying. It's important for our tenants. It's important for the entire town. It's important for the whole world. When you live in a building, you're part of a community, and your actions affect everyone around you and, in fact, the whole city. So it's very important to be safe. It's very important to keep balconies clear. It's very important to keep fire exits safe and clear. And safety is important. You know, we need these times to remind us about how important safety is and how important it is to be part of the community.
Outstanding. I'm just going to go through a list of items, and if it's been completed, you can just say check. You've met with the inspectors of the town?
Completed, check.
You've met with the plumbing inspector, electrical inspector, and the building inspector, and they've looked at your plan?
Absolutely, check.
and you certainly met with police for your security plan as well.
Check, yes.
And I do want to go over to, there's one other issue, safety issue and health issue that our health department has talked to you about, and that is mold, the possibility of mold in both common ways and in apartments. Tell me how we're addressing that.
So we have a certified remediation company that's addressing all smoke and moisture and to prevent any mold from coming. And then after they finish all their remediation, which is a process, then they bring in some other company that's professional testings to certify and test for moisture and to ensure that it's a safe environment for everyone to return home.
I do want to also assure our residents, no matter where you live, that this is a model of the way that we approach remediation. This company, ordinarily, when there's a fire, there's a corporate landlord, they wait for the insurance company to do their job and then come back in and only focus on finance. Your company was proactive in coming in way before insurance even started to start the process of bringing your people back home.
Yeah, we're proud of that, and we're proud that we're in a town where the mayor and his department feels the same way, that they put their tenants first, they put their community first, they put their residents first, and do everything they can to get everyone home safe as soon as possible.
Sharon, you've been on the most important part of this endeavor. You've been in direct contact with tenants. You've been in direct contact with certainly the administration, the shelter, with Red Cross, who's done an outstanding job. Tell me about the most important effort here, and that is returning tenants home.
So most of the tenants will know that I've been in touch with them. Probably every single tenant has heard my voice. I've spoken to them. I've met with them in person, just reassuring them of the process and making sure that they know that the management team is here with them. We are in solidarity with them. We understand their needs, and we're working to get them back home as soon as possible. So any questions that they have, they can reach out to me directly. Most of them have my phone number and my email address. Yeah. They know where our leasing office is located. We have staff there Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. And beyond, sometimes anytime that they email me, they know that they will get a response from me. So my job here is just to make sure that they understand that we are here for them, we're working with them, we understand their struggles, and even some of the struggles that are outside of just a building or moving back in. For instance, right next door, the daycare, the school that's there, they've reached out to me, we're working with them. So it's a very holistic effort, and we're trying to just make sure that they know that we're more than just their landlord. Like, we care about them and we want them home as soon as possible, and that's our most important effort.
We thank you for the efforts. We want to underscore that was a theme throughout this entire endeavor. It is tragic. It is really a tough loss. And if you go to the scene and see it, if you've gone to the Red Cross shelter and the shelter at St. Matthew's Church and seen it, it's really a tough thing. Whatever anyone can do to contribute, please do so. We're on the ground constantly to make sure that people are returned. It is tragic to suddenly lose your home, lose your belongings, have your family scattered, and so our hearts go out to the families. But we won't quit. We'll make sure that everyone is turned around. Sharon, we want to close out with the financial issues. There are a number of, all the tenants paid their security deposit and their rents. You've done a terrific job in terms of doing the accounting and making sure that security deposits are returned in a very timely fashion. Just tell us how enormous of a task that was in the midst of all this.
It wasn't easy, but thanks to Steve and giving us the green light and shortening the efforts, because sometimes it can take long, like per their lease, it's usually like a 30-day process to issue back all the security deposits, but Steve was able to expedite a lot of processes and make sure that we got the security deposits back in the office. We still have some there, but a lot of our tenants are like, you know what, we love our building and we're going to come back, so they didn't even opt to go pick up the security deposits. So as far as their ledgers and the financial things, they know to reach out with me with any questions, any concerns, and we walk them through the process. We take our time to make sure that we address every single question that they have, so they know we're an open door.
And finally, in terms of priority for those who want to come back to the building, if you have vacancies, are they prioritized to come back?
Absolutely. They are on our minds 24/7, believe me. So we're making sure to prioritize them over any new tenants or anyone that's on our waiting list. We're making sure that those tenants will be priority and will have first choice as far as our vacant units that are on the other side of the building.
Thank you. There you have it. That is my report on the recent fire at 431 Park Avenue. We'll keep you updated as things move forward. Be rest assured that it did take city resources to help in this effort, and that's why I want to report out to the public, because we did have fire, we had police, we had public works, we had community service, all on the scene and continuing throughout to make this transition as comfortable as possible for our residents. I'm Mayor Warren. I'm at City Hall. This is the Park Avenue fire at 431. We'll be keeping you updated. Thank you guys for all that you do. Hi, I'm Mayor Warren, and I'm at City Hall in the council chambers, and just finished a report, the progress report on the fire at 431 Park Avenue. I have with me Lewis Copeland from my staff and OEM staff. Padilla, tell me, you were on the scene in the very beginning. Just give us some sense of what was happening and what your efforts were immediately as part of OEM.
Well, OEM.
What is OEM first?
Well, basically, OEM is a system that's in place in every municipality to provide resources to the municipality when they either fall short or just don't have the resources. So basically,
And it's called the Office of Emergency Management.
Correct, which answers to the county and also answers to the state police. But locally, the mayor is the chief commanding officer. Basically, when we pull up on the scene is and I spoke to Mr. Copeland yesterday coming from the shelter, is the responsibility we take is right away we observe, we see what's out there. The first thing I noticed, we had a parade of people in pajamas. So right away, the first thing we did was we notified New Jersey Transit. They sent out 3 buses. The second thing is now how are we going to rehab not only the firefighters, the workers on the scene, but these citizens that have been displaced. Through the cooperation of what our canteen club is called out of Newark. They came in, they provided hot beverages and so on and so forth. And then we started the long process, which brings us here today as far as sheltering. There's a lot of moving parts, like I said, Mayor. And I'll repeat it, some parts get a little squeaky, we got to put a little oil, but overall, I believe that this city, and I have never seen this, and I was a fireman for 32 years, and I've been involved in OEM. Cities normally don't take the bull by the horn because it's financially devastating. There are standard things that OEM comply with. My outlook on thing is take care of the people, make sure everyone's healthy and safe, make sure that the city is not burdened financially, and make sure we request and obtain the resources needed to make everybody's lives a lot smoother.
Tell me about your work on the ground with the Red Cross, who's done a phenomenal job in terms of being on the ground and helping us very early on.
We're lucky in Essex County, and I just know him by Murad, but he is our representative. He is also a retired Newark deputy chief or fire officer, and he's amazing. I have his personal number. I've called him at home, and once I make that first phone call, it just flows like we've been doing this forever. The county is another resource. The county sheriff is amazing. They are our support team on the OEM side. They strictly come in and they make sure that we have everything in order and everything is going smoothly. And then we were lucky enough, I'm not sure how we got it, but the ROC from the state police actually called us that same morning along with the prosecutor's office. So what we couldn't get locally or county, the ROC said, you let us know, we'll get it. So Beautiful. It's an amazing thing.
Outstanding work. As I said, all of our agencies came in, OEM, our fire department, our police department have been working around the clock. They've also been volunteering their time and their resources. The fire department did raise a good sum of money for the victims of the fire as well. Everyone has done an outstanding job. Lewis Copeland, you have been in a number of roles with respect to this fire, coordinating between the various agencies in the city, plus being on the ground with the victims and the shelter. Tell me how, and you even did a transition from the school shelter to the church. Tell me how that's going.
That's going very well. Under your direction, the City of Orange Township established the Community Crisis Emergency Team. That team is responsible for providing assistance to all citizens and all residents who have experienced dislocation, or experience a fire, flood, and we will provide them with safety. So we started off at the Orange Public Library. We then moved to Lincoln Avenue School, where they were provided shelter, blankets, food. It was a collaboration between the Red Cross and the City of Orange Township. We then moved to St. Matthews, and now they're providing the shelter, and your office has been providing apartments for all the residents that are in need.
Tell me some of the feedback you've been getting from residents in terms of being displaced, and particularly the impact on their children.
They've been comforted by the fact that there's a lot of support, not just from your office, but from the school system. You've contacted the school, the Board of Education. Your conversations have been extremely helpful. Children have not missed a day of school. They have been given some leeway because obviously they're not going to be on time, especially on the day of the fire. But they've been able to catch up on their schoolwork, maintain a normal life, and everything has gone as smoothly as possible.
We want to thank our community partners, certainly St. Matthew's Church, who stepped in, the library, the Board of Education has been a tremendous partner and has allowed this transition to be a little bit smoother, even in tragic circumstances. I do want the parents to know that as a result of the fire, if you're displaced, your children do not have to leave the school system, that they can be comforted in knowing that they have the stability of being in the school that they started in. If there are any other questions, there's a number for you to reach out to if you want to make donations or if you want to get involved and volunteer and be part of a crisis team for the next crisis that may occur. Please contact that number and let us know. I'm Mayor Warren. We are at City Hall, and we're just working through the progress report and rehousing of many of our residents who were displaced as a result of the 431 Park Avenue fire just about 10 days ago.